Hello and welcome to Dawn of War Weekly, powered by PC Gamer. I'm Simon Miller and I'm on a mission to learn more about Sega and Relic Entertainment's blockbuster RTS, Dawn of War 3. Today we're taking a closer look at the armies you'll command on the planet Acheron. Three factions are battling for supremacy: Space Marines, Orcs and Eldar. Each of them have their own units, heroes and special abilities, but which one is the best? To answer that question, I need an expert. I need a man that knows his Wraith Lords from his Wraith Guard, and that man is Chris Thurston.
Hello Simon, how are you?
I'm hungry, Chris. I'm hungry for facts about Dawn of War 3. Who should I play as?
Good question. The answer is that depends. The factions play very differently.
Give me an overview.
So, Space Marines are genetically engineered super soldiers who live and die for the Emperor of Man. They're 7 feet tall, they carry guns that fire miniature warheads, and they have huge walking Imperial Knights that can take out entire armies. The Eldar are a mysterious ancient race. There aren't many of them because they're slowly dying out, but they are masters of fast hit-and-run attacks. They have Psychers who can blow up your brain with magic, and they have giant Bone Walkers piloted by the spirits of dead warriors. They're pretty intense. The Orcs are a rampaging green tide that loves to smash stuff. They band up, get really excited, and then overwhelm the enemy with their numbers. They like to cobble together scrap into crazy war machines. They're the ultimate horde army.
Let's start with the humans. What's the deal with the Space Marines?
They're disciplined, heavily armored legions. A Space Marine army isn't going to be as big as an Orc horde or as quick as an Eldar force, but every soldier is tough. Your standard tactical Marines are good at range, and you can upgrade them with flamers or plasma guns to take out infantry or vehicles more effectively. Assault Marines use jetpacks to close with enemies quickly and rip them up in cover. Devastators are your heavy weapons crews. They need a few moments to set up, but they can pin enemies with bolter fire, which is really useful. The great thing about Space Marines is that you can put any of these guys into 3 drop pods and drop them on the opponent from space. The drop pods are a separate build queue, so if you have the resources, you can just keep filling them up and throwing them down to keep the enemy off balance. The Space Marines are led by a Space Marine commander, Gabriel Angelos, a hero of the series who you can control on the battlefield.
He's one of the Space Marine hero units.
That's right. Dawn of War 3 gives you the big armies of the first game and mixes in these Dawn of War 2 style hero units. There are a bunch for each army, and you pick 3 before a battle starts.
What can they do that your normal guys can't?
They have really powerful abilities that you can activate in a fight to turn things your way. For example, with Gabriel Angelos, you trigger a leaping attack with his hammer Godsplitter, or throw up a shield that reflects gunfire. He's a close combat specialist, but if you wanted to take a different tactical approach, you could pick a ranged support specialist like Jonah, the chapter librarian.
What's he going to do? Loan them a book?
No, but he can trap enemies in a psychic cage. Librarians are very different in Warhammer 40,000.
That's crazy.
If you like that, check out this elite.
A big stompy death robot. That's more like it.
This is Solaria, the Imperial Knight. She's one of the biggest units in the entire series, and she's amazing at range. You can bombard areas with her rocket launcher or mow down everything within range with her twin miniguns. Sometimes she overheats and slows down a bit, but her attacks do even more damage in this state, and her rockets leave pools of fire behind when they explode.
It's going to take a lot to beat that. Tell me about the Eldar.
They're fast, fragile, and sneaky. Dire Avengers and Howling Banshees are the 1-2 punch at the heart of their line units. The Dire Avengers lay down a storm of shuriken fire, while the Banshees, these screaming sword-wielding warriors, charge the lines. The Avengers can go down in moments, so you have to be careful with them, but they're great for bursting down units that are paralyzed by the Banshees' howling scream. One thing to bear in mind with the Eldar, they have a special shield called Battle Focus that protects their health bar at the start of an engagement. As soon as it's broken, they can be wiped out super quickly, but in the opening few minutes of an attack, they're really potent. Battle Focus really encourages you to hit hard and then get out before Battle Focus breaks.
Deadly, but squishy. Got it.
Not all of them are so easy to kill. The Eldar have a tier of units that house souls in walkers made of living bone, these expensive, slow, tough units. Wraithblades very slowly walk over to the enemy and then dice them up with double swords. They are shock troops, but you need to use the Eldar's tricks to get them to the right place on the battlefield.
What kind of tricks?
Interdimensional gates called webways for one. You can build them anywhere and, once you tech up, even teleport units between them. Plus, all Eldar units get a speed boost for being near them, so they can teleport and strike incredibly quickly. Of course, if your opponent sees a turbocharged Banshee unit running around, they know there's a webway around, so there's a bit of cat and mouse there.
I'm not sure about all this sneaking around, Chris.
There's a lot of that with the Eldar. They'll vanish and then suddenly attack somewhere you don't expect. They'll teleport their entire base halfway across the map. You never know where they'll pop up next, giving them way more mobility than an Orc or Space Marine tank.
I like what I'm seeing, but I can't help but notice the lack of enormous robots.
Remember the Wraithblades we saw earlier?
The deadly haunted bone dudes.
Here's their big brother.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
This guy's 3 times bigger than the Wraithblades. He's an elite unit that can leap across the battlefield and power up a huge beam attack. You can combine this with a distortion field to suck a bunch of units into one place and then roast them with the focused beam. The Wraith Knight embodies the spirit of the Eldar. He's powerful and does high damage, but he's also deceptively quick. If you don't scout him properly, he can leap into a fight and suddenly kill the bulk of your army.
This guy feels like a late-game hero unit to me, comes out at the end and finishes it.
The Wraith Knight is good at that, but never underestimate the other Eldar heroes. Jane Zar is a Phoenix Lord of the Howling Banshee, an insanely powerful Eldar warrior that reincarnates to kick ass every so often. She's amazing in close combat. She has a dash that lets her leap off enemies, doing area of effect damage, and she has a throwing weapon that boomerangs back to her. If she throws her weapon then dashes into it, she leaps off it and flies miles. You're going to see loads of clutch trick plays with her.
You're not going to see a Space Marine doing that.
No, they're not ninja enough. Speaking of which, we have to take a look at the Wraith Lord, who has probably one of the coolest animations in the game. He's another excellent close combat unit who can send a battle line flying with his glaive strike attack.
That is awesome. Okay, the Eldar are awesome. You've convinced me.
Do you have a favourite faction yet?
I feel that it would be inconsiderate to commit without hearing about the Orcs.
The Orcs thank you for being so fair.
I'll come out and say it. The war boss Gorguts is my favourite character of the 3 leaders.
He's certainly the biggest.
He has a robot claw that's as big as him, and he can detach it and swing it around his head on a chain. That's innovation.
That attack absorbs bullets and slows enemies down, so it's good to put him in front of your horde where an Orc war boss should be. He's brutal with that claw in combat, and he's very resilient.
If I know anything about Orcs, it's that the biggest one gets to lead the army. That's Orc law.
Well, there's no Orc bigger than Gorguts, but there are machines that are bigger than him. This is their walker, Beauty de Morkanaut. Beauty can throw up shields that protect nearby units, and it has a spring-loaded fist that can punch units on the other side of the screen.
That's my kind of mech.
You can see that the Orcs tend to hack together their machines. The Morkanaut and the Killer Cans are these really haphazard war robots with fire coming out of every exhaust pipe. That's because Orcs are obsessive tinkerers. In Dawn of War 3, they can collect the scrap of ruined enemy vehicles, or find orbital scrap pulled in from orbit at the foot of war towers, and then quickly hack together a tank or flying copter when they need one.
So they can pillage the wrecks of enemy units and then turn the scrap into tanks of their own.
Precisely. If everything goes to plan, Orcs can snowball into these huge hordes made up of charging troops and demented machines. Their heroes often inspire nearby Orcs, and the war towers can trigger a buff on large groups of Orcs. It's an amazing sight when it all comes off. They really play into the fantasy of the Orc faction in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, but they're more advanced than a traditional Horde army in other RTS games. You can jump into a game and have loads of fun with them, but I think expert players are really going to love how they gain momentum and can overrun an opponent.
Let's just say I know who I'm going to be playing as when the game does come out on April the 27th. And I've learned a lot today. I've learned that the Space Marines have an awesome mech, that the Eldar are basically crazy space samurai, and the Orcs are the best. And on that statement of truth, we have to bring this week's episode to a close. So it's goodbye from Chris and I, but there is still time for our weekly Warhammer 40,000 Fact of the Week from RTS Master, Day 9. Take it away, Sean.
Thanks, Simon. Yes, it's Day 9 here with your Warhammer 40,000 Fact of the Week. Did you know that when an orc dies, it releases a cloud of spores that burrow underground and grow into more orcs? That makes them a big, angry sort of fungus. Maybe that's why they're green. That's all for now. Look out for another episode of Dawn of War Weekly next week. Until then, farewell.